you haven't already, please go ahead and click on the subscribe button, and while you're at it, click on that little bell too. So I saw your movie.
Thank you.
It's actually pretty funny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't know what to expect because I didn't watch the trailer first. So
Great.
I just
Good.
went in
Going blind.
totally cold.
Cool.
Why should people go see this?
Well, they don't have to go. Is the number one thing. So they should actually just order it on demand, because
Watch in their
it's
underpants.
watch in their underwear and drink wine and smoke weed and hang out in your house. Don't go. You can't.
Yeah.
You literally
Okay.
can't. We made it so that you could get it in your living room.
That's nice.
So that's kind of my number one thing is like take 88 minutes. It's not you don't have to divest into 10 episodes on a Netflix and binge. It's a date night at home, and it's really funny. So that's why I think people should order it.
You know, it was kind of interesting that when I was looking this up to just kind of see, like, all right, how is this categorized? Because I thought it was funny, but it almost felt more like a dramedy. Just because, you know, there were like obviously funny moments in the movie.
Yeah.
But then there were some moments I was like, whoa. Like, it was kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
intentional?
Oh,
or-
yeah.
Well,
definitely.
also maybe hit closer to home for a man of your age
Yeah.
who is
Yeah.
talking about moving out of their parents' house.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think we probably made it for someone like you.
I definitely connected to having the setting being the suburbs.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think on that level, like, we wanted to do something really funny, but also make it feel compelling and feel like something you didn't want to necessarily turn off and stop.
Yeah, for us, that's always one of the biggest failings of comedy is that you see these really, really funny comedies and the first 45 minutes are great, and then at some point you're just sort of like, all right, I know where it's going. I don't really need to see anymore. It was really important for us to feel like, you know, once you signed into the movie, you didn't want to leave until you were done, and then, you know, that there was something holding you there.
So you co-wrote this.
Co-wrote
right?
it and directed it, yeah.
Now, I really appreciated the triple twist in
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what was the inspiration like going into this? Were you just like, you know, we want to make people laugh and we want to throw them off, or like, I mean, like, tell me about that process.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the biggest we started, my co-writer Doug Manns and myself, we started this from the place of like, well, we really want to tell like a home for the holidays comedy. We love that moment in time. Always feels very particular, where, you know, it's the night before Thanksgiving, all your old friends are getting drunk at the old bar you used to use a fake ID to get into, and it was sort of, we knew we wanted to tell that story, but we knew that we needed to make it more than just that, because that ultimately is a movie people have seen that doesn't really have a ton of active stakes, and so it became a question for us, well, how do we manifest these inner fears of, you know, of like losing who you were and trying to hold on to your childhood but not being able to, and how do we manifest that into really active fears, stuff that you're actually like experiencing physically. Yeah, I think I answered the question. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
answered
great.
all of them. No,
Great.
that's fine. So, Dan, this is your first full feature
Yeah,
film.
my first feature film.
Tell me about that. Like,
Yeah.
challenges, surprises.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you've done some other
Yeah,
stuff, but
no,
like,
I come from the world of like sketch comedy and short films, music videos, and so all of my directing work up until this point was a shorter form, and you know, when I walked on set that first day, I felt like a real big shot, and I got in my big director's chair,
There you
and
go.
I you know, I was very like, let's take our time, let's experiment, and I let the actors like do way too much, and I like got a ton of different angles I didn't need, and then the AD comes up to me very quietly and whispers, "We're 3 hours behind," and
Hurry up.
Yeah, exactly, and I you know, I pooped my pants, and I realized like, oh, this is not going right, and I sort of boned our first day a little bit. I mean, we got everything we needed, but you know, the moment you mess up, you feel it like,
right,
you know, in your bones, and I just very quickly just checked in with myself, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I've been directing things like forever. It's just, I'm just doing more days than I've done before. In so many ways, that's the biggest difference, is just the stamina of doing what you've always done, that you know how to do well, and just doing more of it. And so once I just reconnected with like the skill set that I've been developing and working out for forever, it stopped being challenging in any unknown way. It just became the challenges that I know and how to tackle and how to deal with.
So, rumor is that you guys have been besties for a long time.
Besties. I like that term.
Yeah, we've got matching tats.
Baby tats.
With matching tats.
Yeah.
It's of a baby that has an arm tat that says bestie.
Yeah.
I love the visual. Did that help hinder the process?
Only helped.
Time,
We've been working together like this for our entire careers almost. So
since we're 2019,
Yeah.
I mean,
So it was really a nice way to come full circle and do it again with all the knowledge that we've each gained in different areas, and just to kind of you always had that security blanket of them knowing what you want.
Yeah.
Because we've known each other so long.
Doug and I wrote this movie always knowing that it was going to be Adam starring in it. So it was very easy to write this character because we just basically just tapped into all of the stupid things he said to us over the years and put that in the script. And so it's there's a real shorthand that is sort of irreplaceable. Just having that trust and knowing how to talk to each other.
Did you have Adam? Did you have like a real personal connection to your character, or was this like no, what you see on screen is not Adam whatsoever?
No, I mean, I think anything I do is Adam.
Okay.
A little bit. Because I was telling Dan before, I always try to think of it like life is so crazy. You make all these little choices that amount to bigger things, like when am I going to live here, or how long am I going to be with this person, or even to small things like I'm going to buy a car and then I'm going to decide that I'm going to drive that car and then I get a flat tire and I meet this person. Like life is such
sliding doors, man.
Sliding doors. It's like so I always think about like one choice for me is a click this way, and this guy is kind of just like one click that way for me, If a couple things didn't work out, I could totally see myself back in my hometown, lying to people, telling them that I was a success,
Right.
So, of course, I think any character you have to find that.
Okay. Now, I don't want to inject my own analysis on this. So
No, I mean, I think that's your job.
Yeah.
it is, but like when you actually have the source,
Oh no,
that's a little different.
No, well, then we can talk about it.
So, what do you guys think was the overarching theme for this movie? I mean, I know it's a comedy.
No.
But I personally think that all movies still have something they want to
I
communicate.
agree with you 100%.
So-
I mean, I think to me, the lesson, if you want to like search for a theme immortal, is that people change, and the only way life changes, people change. You have to learn how to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of trying to hold on to your past is toxic. That really is the I think the fundamental theme and emotion that living in who you think someone is or who you think you are is invariably going to spoil, and there is no living in the past. Like you have to move on and move up with your life, because otherwise you'll kind of fall down a rabbit hole of
Self-hate.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is even a quote or like a Buddhist thought or something.
It was on your tea this morning.
Thank you. Yeah, that's where it was from. But there is the idea that like your past does not define you; it informs you.
I've heard that before.
I don't know who said that or what, but it's like I do believe that James Lipton.
James Lipton.
Yes.
James Lipton's iced tea. Iced tea for actors.
You should make that a quote on your
That's
social
gonna
media.
read on my tombstone. But I don't know. I find that to be kind of like, for me at least, very poignant because as you get older, these big tectonic shifts happen all the time. You get married, you have babies, people die, people come into your life, they go out of your life, and there are these big shifts that happen to you, and you have to be able to continue to move forward, or else you're just gonna be stuck being like, remember when all that was like that, So
your character, and maybe a mild spoiler, but why do you think your character didn't go with that change?
Because I think sometimes when things are so easy for you so young, you learn you don't learn how to really go out and get things. You end up becoming kind of a product of privilege in a lot of ways, especially a white dude. I think that is super commonplace for people like that who are lauded in one way so young, and then they go, well, that's what it's going to be like mine. I'm just going to be that, you know. And then they don't work at it. They don't do anything. Nothing happens, and so they're in the same place.
I think it's everyone's sort of personal journey at some point to figure out, oh, I gotta change. Like, I gotta grow up. Really, that's what it is at its core. Is like, I'm not a kid anymore, and I need to recognize that I need to be an adult. And everyone finds that in different ways at different times in their lives. But I think that is sort of...
Well, it's like the cigarette smoking is such an interesting thing to me, because that is like one of the number one tells. Like, you don't see old people smoking anymore, right? Because old people have come to terms with the fact that they can't smoke. Right? You see young people smoking because it is fun and good. Like, smoking a cigarette is a great joy in life. So that, when you see my character smoking, it's like one of those clear, usually in a movie that's like villainous, but to me it was such a clear, like, this dude is not changed.
Yeah.
He is smoking cigarettes. That's pathetic.
It came off as a crutch.
Yeah,
totally.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's another way to live in the past.
It's another way to live there, yeah.
Interesting. So, on a lighter note, what was your favorite scene to shoot?
I had fun on all the scenes. I liked the scene with John Reynolds where he comes into my bedroom and he tries to look for the tape, and we're like yelling at each other. And
that scene was the funniest scene on set. I think that was the day where like the crew laughed the most. And frankly, like, it was one of the real bummers of the process of editing that like that scene wasn't 10 minutes longer, because there's so much funny stuff that they improvised and brought to life on the day. But that's just the nature of like having to make a movie that's
the
under
other
an hour
thing I
40.
really loved doing in this movie, which I haven't had a chance to do that much, and it was like a new challenge, was being alone on screen. I think I'm alone on screen in this movie for like at least a half hour, and that is super fun and a lot of hard work, because you're trying to keep the image entertaining, and there's no one else to it's you and the story, and that is, I've never quite done that, so it was fun.
Was it more difficult to do the comedic scenes by yourself, or the more like dramatic ones?
I don't ever really think of them in terms like that. It's just like the scene is the scene, you know. Okay. Especially in a movie like this where you can do a scene that's comedic and it'll turn within a dime and it'll be super intense.
Yeah, so, I mean, one of the best like pieces of Adam acting in the movie to me is the scene where he's basically like reached the end of his rope. He's in his bedroom alone. He's straight up just like ugly crying over like realizing he's a piece of shit, and
you do a great ugly cry.
Yeah, thank you.
And there's I do think in that moment like you are feeling sad for this guy, like for real. Adam is acting the hell out of it, but like 1 second later, you're laughing at him again for realizing that he didn't read enough books in high school,
right?
Or masturbating to an old hustler, and so it's that instant kind of back and forth is Pally's genius.
Now you had mentioned earlier that obviously it was pretty challenging to when you had that funny scene and you gotta edit it up and all that. Was there anything that you really wanted to make, to put into the movie, but you just like, just couldn't do it?
Yeah, I mean, there's in the movie there are these. There's two John Lutz, who's an amazing from Chicago comedian in New York now, and his father, and they had several scenes in the movie. They had so much more comedy, and I can't tell you, they were the funniest people in the world. Their scenes were super funny, and it was the most heartbreaking thing, because once we put it all in the movie, it was just very clear that the mystery was sort of like you're watching this section of the movie and people are like, wait, what's happening now? What's going on with the mystery? Like, why are they not taking that seriously anymore? And so we very regretfully had to cut some of those scenes because they were diminishing the larger mystery. But God, I love them. They're so funny.
Okay. Last question before I get kicked out. I mean, what's next for you guys? More tandems, or what are we doing?
Oh, well,
for sure,
definitely,
yeah,
We always work together. Me, Dan, and Doug. I think we'll be working together forever. I have a movie coming out in August called Dog Days. It's a big romantic comedy with Vanessa Hudgens and a bunch of dogs.
Okay.
And then I got some other stuff that I can't talk about yet, but soon.
Yeah, and I'll be going back to Crazy Ex-Girlfriend to direct next season. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you very much.
Yeah, it was
Appreciate it.
awesome.